Hello and welcome back to another Them Frames video. I'm Dan, and in this one, I'm correcting common street photography mistakes that you're probably making in less than 5 minutes. Make sure you stick around until the end because I'm pretty sure the final mistake I share is probably the one that's causing the most damage to you doing street photography. The first one being that you're only photographing the backs of people's heads. Now, I get it. Street photography is nerve-wracking. The idea of going out there and being face-to-face with a stranger and them clocking you, taking their picture, well, that's just too much anxiety for some people to handle. So what do? We protect ourselves and we play it safe and we make photographs from behind. Now, I'm not saying a photograph from behind is always going to be a bad picture. Sometimes it will be good. But if that's all your portfolio is full of, then it's going to get boring really quickly. And the reality is, if you really want to get involved in street photography, it's just something you're going to have to overcome. There's no two ways about it. You can do that by consistently practicing the art form, by just pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and learning that more often than not, overwhelmingly more often than not, no one's going to have a problem with you making their street photograph. And if you do have a worry about confrontation, I've got a video for that, so you can take a look at how to deal with confrontation in street photography. And the next mistake I see people making is they're not standing still. Now, there's this kind of idea in street photography folklore that it's all about walking for hours and miles per day, hunting and catching the perfect street photograph. And while that is so much part of the enjoyment, also, there's nothing wrong with standing still because we often let scenes pass us by when we're moving so quickly. Whereas when we stand still and we observe what's around us, a lot more narratives start to pop up, a lot more potential images start to materialize, and we have a better kind of analytical perspective of what's going on in front of us. And I find this is where the most meaningful street photography comes from. Not the only place, but more often than not, the most meaningful. Whereas when it's fast action, it tends to be mainly the more shocking images that stand out because they're just so overwhelming. It doesn't matter how fast you're walking, you're not going to miss them, okay? But when you get a portfolio full of those types of images, you start to lack diversity. So still go on those long walks, still walk for miles a day, but don't be afraid just to stand still and be patient and observe. And rather than hunt, wait for the catch to come to you. Next mistake is not shooting in aperture priority mode. And I think this is mainly due to ego, okay? Now, we're taught so early on in our journeys, we need to know our ISO from our shutter speed and our aperture. That's true. All of that's true. Gaining full control over your camera gives you more power when making photographs. But there's also this kind of idea, not just in street photography, but in photography in general, that you're in some way inferior if you're shooting in any other mode than manual. You fool! Quite honestly, who cares? If you're making good images, that's all that really matters. And when you're out on the streets, not only is it fast-paced, but even faster than that can be how the light changes. And if you're seeing a shot, but you know, the sun has gone down a bit, so you're going to be underexposed. If you're an aperture priority, you just adjust the aperture. You have some faith in your camera, and today's cameras nowadays are absolutely awesome. They won't always get it right, but the consistency is really good if you're not so anal about this kind of thing. So don't be afraid to shoot in aperture priority because it can mean the difference between you missing the shot and getting the shot. And that's going to be frustrating far more than knowing you didn't make an image in manual mode. So get over that as quickly as possible. So the final mistake I see people making, and it might be the most detrimental to their progression in street photography, is they don't know the laws in their own country. I bring this one up because I posted an image in a thread on Reddit recently. It actually got deleted, but that's a different conversation. And someone very calmly, very respectfully started to engage in the ethics of street photography. And they mentioned that they probably have a bit of a negative idea of street photography because it's illegal in their country. The country they're from is Germany. It's not illegal to do street photography in Germany. So they've got that wrong. And this has shaped their idea of what the craft must be about. If it's illegal, we associate illegal with bad and vice versa. And really, they could have been shooting street photography all this time. Now, there are some restrictions in Germany on how you can use the images, but in terms of getting out there and just practicing the craft, there's nothing illegal about it whatsoever. And this could be happening to you in your country or countries that you visit, where for some reason you think it's illegal and it's not, and you're just preventing yourself from creating street images. So always do your research. Local government websites are great places to go find out about this thing, and just make sure you are aware of the laws before you go out and practice street photography. Okay, so those are the common mistakes I see in street photography when you're a beginner, and they're easy to correct. I want to know about some other mistakes that you think street photographers are making. Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, then please do like it. Also, do subscribe so YouTube lets you know when I next publish, and tap the bell icon so you get a notification as well. Until the next one, this is Them Frames. I'm Dan. See ya.